Hi, welcome to America 2.0. What I want to show you here comes from AOL and the Associated Press, who I believe own and operate AOL News. They always say AOL News, Associated Press. So this obviously is about Vladimir Putin. This shows you how bad the left is trying to push this whole mental health thing of anyone who basically crosses them. Alright, here you go. I didn't want to have to do this. But Russian President Vladimir Putin may have a form of autism. Hang on. Let it reload. Nope. Okay. Let it reload the way it should have. Hang on. There we go. AOL is useless.
Talk about your every move being scrutinized. A Pentagon report obtained by the media shows at least one government think tank believes Russian President Vladimir Putin has Asperger Syndrome. USA Today detailed the report, which the outlet says it obtained through open records requests. The report says Pentagon officials first began essentially scrutinizing Putin's body language in 2000 when he rose to be Russia's prime minister. With no ability to do a brain scan, there likely won't be anyone proving or disproving the theory. But the researchers wrote in 2008 Putin was their focus because several nonverbal movements so clearly reveal that the Russian president carries a neurological abnormality. The report also said Putin often appeared on the defensive in large social settings, and if you need to do things with him, you don't want to be in a big state affair, but more of a one-on-one situation, someplace, somewhere quiet. Of course, while that might be a symptom of Asperger's, there are several other explanations that would line up with those symptoms, like being shy. Now, Putin's at times bizarre press opportunities have given him a bigger-than-life reputation worldwide that doesn't suggest a coy world leader. He's also the regular butt of jokes in American media.
Horse's ass on a horse's ass.
You can't deny Putin is one powerful leader, and researchers wrote Putin seeks extreme control in the way he makes decisions. When Time made him the magazine's Person of the Year in 2007, it wrote, "The Russian president..."
Hang on, let me back it up for you.
You can't deny Putin is one powerful leader, and researchers wrote Putin seeks extreme control in the way he makes decisions. When Time...
Look at this, Time. Writes, the Tsar is born. Time. Okay, so everybody's looking at this guy as the Tsar. Okay? So that's interesting. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but basically, as you know, Aspergers. Sorry, I wasn't even thinking. So, the new leftists, according to, let me get the whole sources here. The Pentagon, according to USA Today, AP, and AOL News and Time, has all these sources for this one news article here, claim Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, has, or at least they believe he has, Asperger Syndrome, which is an autistic situation. He's not good in big social settings, but he's better in private conversation. That's fine. Russian president was diagnosed in 2008 with Asperger Syndrome by Pentagon Commission researchers, according to USA Today. The experts claim his condition is a result of neurological development being disrupted at a young age. Puppy, get him. The surprising prognosis was made without the benefit of a brain scan. So remember, before they diagnose you with a mental disorder, you need the benefit of a brain scan. DNA and others. They cannot just say, oh my God, you have Aspergers, you have bipolar disorder, you crazy fuck. Then say, look, I'm willing to work with you here, but according to the American Psychological Association, everything else, you need to have a brain scan done and have that backed up with DNA and genetics testing. And if you're not willing to do that, guess what? All you're trying to do is screw people over and label them so you can kick them out and do whatever the fuck you want. So, you need a brain scan. Alright! The surprising prognosis was made without a brain scan. Normally, prerequisite such as a fine was explained through analysis of Putin's often questionable judgment, which has been under intense scrutiny since his country's 2014 invasion of Crimea, backing Ukraine separatists. Putin also infamously appeared to make a pass at the wife of Chinese President Xi Jinping's during an economic summit in Asia. You know, I don't know so much about that. You know, certain things you do on camera because you want to appear a certain way, okay? He was basically being pinned up against Obama. You know, being ex-KGB, being basically having that kind of authority and that kind of reputation, you want to kind of seem a little flirty and a little debonair. You know, it was never released that he said anything in question or that he said, hey, why don't you come by tonight and I'll show you a good time or anything like that. So this idea that AOL is putting that, you know, that it's this or that, and, you know, he made a pass at the wife of the Chinese president, Xi Jinping. It isn't all marked up for the same thing. You got to do some shit for the cameras. But according to this, Asperger Syndrome is an acoustic disorder which affects all his decisions, concluding the 2008 study, which has been reviewed by AOL News. The Russian strongman's neurological development was significantly interrupted. Interrupted, my bad. In infancy, according to lead researcher Brenda Connors, an expert movement pattern analysis by the U.S. Naval Warfare College. Okay. So we got some names here. U.S. Naval War College. Sorry, I'm writing this down too. Trying to show you how I do all this. Because everybody's like, oh my god, you don't have your shit together. I'm like, yes I do. Okay, we have USA Today. And I'll put yep, okay, I already have USA Today. The research team concluded the U.S. officials would be well advised to avoid loud and crowded venues in dealing with the Russian leader. Well, that's not too bad. If you need to do things with him, you don't want to be in a big state affair, but more one-on-one, where it's quiet, concluded Dr. Stephen Porges, a professor of psychology, University of North Carolina, quoted in the study. Alright, so here you go again, people. You know, here's the mental health thing being taken into international affairs, okay? I don't like it any more than you. I supposedly met with Putin, or at least one of his doubles at least. I gotta pull the name out of my head. What do I usually say? 2008 or 2011, something like that. It's been a long time. He does kind of seem like he's always calm, like he's always collective, like he's always thinking about what he should do, and that's fine, you know. Supposedly, if the guy was who it was supposed to be, which who knows, the guy was here for some summit for President Bush, and I'm not going to say where I met him, but it was in the state I'm currently in. And he was at a bar drinking with a couple of his bodyguards in the background. Again, they could have been anybody, and he could have been playing the role of Putin. I have no fucking idea. But when I asked him how Russia was doing, you know, the bodyguard kind of got a little pissy and kind of stood up a little. He left and said he was there to watch the rest of the game because, you know, this or that. So, well, it wasn't too bad. But, you know, so this is the leftist agenda here. You know, let's diagnose all our enemies with disorders so that we are higher than them. So take this with a grain of salt, but I'm not so sure I would say Asperger's. I mean, they never gave you the reasons for the diagnosis. I mean, the step-by-step analysis of the diagnosis. I mean, they said his movements, this and that, fine. His prognosis in large arenas, this step, that step. I don't know if what they're saying here is enough to even go on record and say Asperger's. So I wouldn't even say it. I wouldn't even wrote this, but this was a 2008 study, and I'm sure this is an old thing. I'm sure they have the documented evidence and why they really believe it. But to me, this paper right here does not show the original research, does not show the ticks, it does not show the controlling regions, it does not show anything. And, you know, his they said his, you know, infancy was stunned and interrupted and, you know, everything else. So they didn't say how or why. So again, leftists trying to push mental health further against their enemies and everything bullshit like that.